This is the week that the kids got their school supply boxes, but it was not without a colossal test of my patience. There are some things that they do in El Salvador that I like. For example, when waiting in line, often there are chairs lined up, and in order to keep the order of the line, everyone moves over one chair when the person gets called up. I first noticed this at Chivo Pets. That's where I first experienced that one. Or you have chairs, but they give you a number so that they can call you up in the right order. I like that too. If you're going to have to wait, anyway, great to have a chair to sit in. And then there are other things that happen in El Salvador that make me want to pull my hair out in frustration. And Tuesday was that day. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. My name is Charity Hagenars, and bienvenido a mi canal if you're new here, y bienvenido de nuevo if we're already old amigos. Si no habla inglés, ve la configuración de YouTube y selecciona pista de audio para escuchar este video en español o presiona el botón CC para obtener subtítulos en español. Let's start at the beginning. On Friday, we were told that the kids' school boxes would be ready and given out on Tuesday this week. Now, so far so good. Lots of notice for parents to ask for time off work so that they could pick up the boxes. Now, that is a huge improvement over last year because sometimes we were told the night before. So we're also told there are time slots, even better. If your kids are in grades 1 to 3, then you need to be there by 7:30 in the morning. If you have kids that are in grades 4 to 6, you need to be there at 9. And from grades 7 to 9, you need to be there at 10. Now, for my older son, I had to be there at 1 because he goes to the afternoon high school. I have 2 children that are in grades 5 and 9, so I figured I could show up around 9:45 to kind of catch Annika's and before Lawrence's time slot, right? Well, on Tuesday morning, I arrived at the school parking lot at 9:35 a.m., and it was jammed packed with cars. I was pulling in, watching 2 men direct a truck into like this parking space, and then I realized that's the last parking space. Now, in fact, even those 2 men, their trucks were in the road blocking, but I think that's why they were staying there in case they had to move to let somebody out. It was like Tetris for cars. And I kind of parked over to the side and I walked over to them and to see what I could do, right? Because I thought about backing up, but there was a lady driving in, so I couldn't get out. So I just stopped the car and talked to these guys. Anyway, one of them was really nice, and we walked around and asked another guy who had a pickup truck if he could pull out and give me his spot because obviously he was staying there waiting for his wife or whatever, and he could easily move his truck if he had to. So the first guy, he hadn't spoken much English, and I told him I didn't speak a lot of Spanish, so we laughed a little bit about that. So then finally he directed me into parking my car, right? And it's so funny because I've done so many of these tight spot navigations in El Salvador. It baffles me. I've never had to maneuver the cars like I have had to do it here in the country. Like I've never had to weasel my car into some weird space in Canada. They're just spaces weren't that small, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the guy, and he was telling me this is what they do in El Salvador. And they're telling you to to keep coming, keep coming. I don't know what the word is. It's something like, what is the word? I don't know. Is that a word or is that just the sound they make? I mean, it might mean keep coming, keep coming. I don't know. I'm not sure. It sounds like So somebody tell me in the comments what that word is and what they're saying because it's everywhere. Because I have to do this so many times. I've experienced that. That noise, whatever the sound is, many times. Anyway, I get out of the car. He's like, good job. He spoke a few English words, so it was kind of funny. We made us both laugh. Anyway, very, very nerve-wracking to try to get into that space. But instantly, that lady who parked behind me, who came in after me, she kind of parked a little bit in the way, and she gave the guys her, they wrote down her plate number and her phone number, and if they needed to call her to move, she could do that. And actually, while I was at the school, there were several license plates that were announced over the PA system for people to go move their cars. So, and when I finally did leave for the day, that lady had a smashed in driver's side fender. And I don't remember seeing that when she parked. So, ouch. Somebody had to get out and she was in the way. So that's not the best. Anyway, that wasn't my day. Thank goodness. My car would have been smashed. That would have been the icing on the cake. Anyway, so around 9:45 a.m., I walk into the school grounds and I go to where it looks like they're lined up. Then I'm told, because other people that showed up after me asked questions like, is this where the line starts? These people had never said anything to me because I just smiled and, whatever. But the other people that asked, they were told the lineup is, no, it's over there by the bathroom. And I'm like, La Linea? They're like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go over there and yeah, it was way down by the bathroom, right? So I, proceeded to walk over there and get in line. And by 10:30, I'd only moved about 3 meters in that line from hell. That was the line from hell. It really was. It was well named. It was about 100 meters long and it snaked back and forth throughout the school. So yeah, there's like 1,000 kids at the school. So let's just say 50% of parents have more than one child, like us. So there's at least 500 other people there. And I know I didn't arrive at 7:30, but I'm thinking the people that arrived at 7:30 might have still been in line. I don't know. I'm just saying that it didn't move. It was a snail's pace. It was moving at a snail's pace. It did not move fast. And they told us that if we didn't come that day to pick up the boxes, we wouldn't get them, which makes absolutely no sense because their textbooks are in the box. Also, their uniforms and shoes are supposed to be in the box, and we pre-ordered them. So why would we not be able to pick up a box on a different day? That made no sense. By 11:27 a.m., I'm sending out text message to friends that read like, I'm still in the line from hell an hour and a half later, and my back is killing me. Now, I was in so much pain standing on the concrete floor all that time, and I had like a pinched nerve or something behind my right shoulder. Oh my gosh. I was like bent over and leaning against a wall or pressing my back into a wall if there was a wall there. Yeah, I was in so much pain. There was a couple times I caught myself like my lip was starting to quiver. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't cry. Like I should have took Tylenol but it didn't hurt before I left. So I was not expecting that I was going to be standing for so long and just not moving, right? Walking is fine. You just stand there for so long without moving. I should have wore like really thick padded sneakers too. That would have helped. Anyway, I digress. The first 2.5 hours in the line were somewhat orderly. We kind of went single file and snaked in and out around the school. And everything was pleasant. And at about the end of that point, there were maybe 20 chairs lined up. So I'm like, great, I can finally sit in a chair. So we kind of start weaving into the chairs, right? It got a bit chaotic because the kids were still in school. Now, normally when the parents have to go to school to pick stuff up, the kids didn't have school that day. But they did. So every time the bell would ring, all the kids would rush through the lineup of parents, which was crazy. And we were there when school ended for the morning kids. So my kids were leaving for the morning. And at that point, the principal had got on this like bullhorn a couple times to say something. And he mentioned something about the sizes because he said they dies. So I'm sitting in the chairs here, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, moving a couple of chairs at a time. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to text my kids because I don't remember what their shoe sizes were. I didn't know I was supposed to come with the sizes with me. I thought there was going to be like a bag and their name is on it, like that kind of thing, right? So, it's the shoe sizes are in European sizes here, but when we ordered them, they were in American sizes. It made no sense because it says my daughter and I both take size 40 European women's shoes. And on their sizing chart, it says women's 40 is like 11 and a half. I'm like, no. Like 7.5, maybe 8. So I don't know. I was gonna be surprised whatever the shoe size was. It's gonna be this big for my daughter. I don't know. It was gonna be crazy. I'm sure it was gonna be crazy. So we were told that line we were in where the chairs was for the bag with the uniforms and the shoes, and it had like a little backpack thing. And some people were coming out of that line and then forming another line over here for the boxes themselves. But then something happened. I don't know, when the principal announced something, everyone just stood up from the chairs and were kind of like, they totally abandoned the chair line and they were kind of rushing towards the table. Now, I'm not sure exactly why that was because I don't remember anything specifically happening at the time. The tables had gone like this and then down the side, and all of a sudden my lineup is now coming down to about the middle part of that table and lining up, and then there's people coming from the other direction like, where did they come from? Because we've been in this line all this time. It was just chaos. The principal got on the bullhorn and told these people that were coming this way to get behind us and actually go sideways. And I'm telling you that when people were shuffling around, it was like we were in an episode of Dirty Dancing. The guy behind me got so close to me, there was like no personal space, and he was like breathing on my neck, right? It was just crazy. And then he passed me even and tried to get to the counter and do something. And at one point, like I'm next in line, and there's a lady there at the paper, and she's telling me, no, we gotta wait for something. I don't know what it was, but it was around that time the principal had got on the bullhorn, said something, and a whole bunch of the crowd said, boo! I'm like, oh my, what is happening here? It was crazy. And kind of people started to push towards the tables then. It was like they were offering free beer, and everyone had their IDs and their fingers like, my turn, pick me, right? It was like, it was complete and utter chaos. And I think there maybe only been 5 or 7 people working behind these tables. I had to be really aggressive because the woman behind me, she thought her arms were longer than mine. And I don't have very long arms, but they're longer than most Salvadorian women's, I found out. Anyway, when it was my turn, the guy had the paper and I said, I have 3 kids. And he started to panic, like he didn't know where all the names were supposed to go. He had to ask the lady beside him. Now, I don't know if he was relieving somebody because they were also trying to eat lunch there. So maybe he hadn't done that before. I don't know. It just seemed really unprepared. And then the guy starts asking me for my kids' names, like as if I could tell him in the sea of noise what my children's names were and he was going to be able to write them properly. I said, no, honey, give me the paper, like I'll write the names down. And I was in such a, like the space was small, and I don't know what it is, like my kids have 3 names, 3 first names, and their last name. And a lot of Salvadorians, the kids have a name, first name, middle name, then they have 2 last names. So most people have like 4 names here. The space was not very big, and I was starting to write names. I was like forgetting my kids' middle names and like, oh, I forgot that name. Anyway, I don't know exactly what I wrote down. Now, there wasn't enough room to put all the names. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, don't tell my kids I forgot what their names were because that would be awful. Anyway, I wrote down my name, and no, actually, he wrote down my name and my Dewey because I gave him my card, and that was okay. And that's when I found out why they were booing, because the principal had told them they were out of uniforms and shoes. Now, I could see uniforms and I could see shoes, but I'm told it wasn't enough. Now, I don't understand why. Why would that be? Because we had to give our orders in advance. Did people not give an order but then pick up a uniform anyway? Or were they just not all ready at the time? I don't know. I'm not sure why it was. So I don't have uniforms or shoes for my kids. Isn't that great? So, yeah, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to go back. Not looking forward to that. Now I want to boo. Boo. Okay, anyway, it was 32 degrees outside, and I think I was still recovering because I had a fever on the weekend, which this is like the first time I really got like sick, but I just had a fever, aches, and I was super, super tired. At 2 o'clock Friday afternoon, I said, my face is getting hot, my arms are getting hot, I'm going to go lie down. And I didn't wake up till 10 a.m. Sunday morning. I was awake a few times in between. I got the kids to get me, bring me up something to eat or something to drink. I tried to watch a couple of videos. It didn't work out. I couldn't keep my eyes open. It was like I was so exhausted. I had to keep my eyes shut. So yeah, I didn't get to go to the beach on the weekend because I couldn't drive, not safely. Anyway, with my eyes shut. I think I was still recovering a bit. I still, even today, felt a bit warm when I woke up. So I was, by Tuesday in 32-degree weather, I was sweating profusely. And with the pain in my back, I think that was making me sweat as well. It was just crazy. So the guy gives me the boxes. Of course, I got 3 boxes like that tall. So I had to get Willem to help me carry them out. There was no way I was going to be able to walk with a stack of 3 boxes. They weren't that heavy, but I couldn't see over top of them. So that would have been a problem. And I actually thought, because there was no real lineup for the tech support there, I thought maybe I can grab Lawrence's computer and go back and get online. And because they usually have chairs there, and I came back and I'm like, there's no chairs. There's no chairs here. I cannot stand, literally, I cannot stand any longer. I need to leave. So, I don't claim to be perfect, but I have organized an event or 50 in my day. So I would have definitely done things a little bit differently there. For one, have the students' names on the lists already printed. So parents just have to put down their name, their Dewey, and sign. It would have been so much faster than people having to write down all their kids' names. And in that big open area where they had that L-shaped table, I would have just did one table across all the way and had like 10 workers behind it, and then had seats lined up in front of each particular worker, maybe 10 chairs. You could fit like 100 people there easily. And because this high schoolers have to do like community hours to graduate, having high schoolers there, like in the morning when they're normally off, to direct the traffic so that when people knew where to start in the line, that would have been great. And then snake around and then tell them, okay, now you're at the chair section. Okay, you take that up, you take that chair. Oh, you take that chair. Like that would have been so much better. Or, maybe have it on 2 different days and not say everyone of the 1,000 students' parents have to come and collect their 1,000 boxes in a morning from 7:30 till, I didn't leave till 1, and there were still lots of people behind me. It would have been crazy. Also for the traffic in the parking lot, like it got dangerous because people coming in, then you had to back out on the highway. That's because you can't turn around. There was nowhere to turn around. Would have been safer if they would have had it over 2 days. Or maybe have the time slots more throughout the day instead of having them just an hour and something. If you cannot process 300 kids in an hour, then don't say have the next grades come an hour later. Like that made no sense. That's literally ridiculous. Actually, how they normally would have done things is have the classes have no kids in them that day, just the parents, and the boxes could have been there for those kids in that class. And they could have did that half one day, half another day. And again, the high schoolers could have helped. Yeah, they could have done it differently. Let's just say there's so many ways they could have done it differently, and they picked the worst way. Yeah, the worst way. And that's just my opinion, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I survived it, but I can say that was the worst day of my life living here so far. I've never been in so much pain, so much heat, and so tired as I was that day, ever in this country so far. But we will persevere because this is real life here in El Salvador. And here's the kids opening their boxes. If you're interested in being part of our WhatsApp group, please email me your WhatsApp number to youtube@haganars.com and see the description below for our Monday night call at 7 p.m. El Salvador time. Free call, links in the description. And if you want to see more of our real lives in El Salvador, hop on over to our new channel called Making It in El Salvador, where on Wednesday I showed everyone the behind the scenes of me making YouTube videos for all of you wonderful people. Take it away, kids. On your mark, get set, go. Open all the way up. All the way up. All the way. There we go. What do we got, Miss Annika?
These are all my colored pencils.
Oh, your pencil set. With pens and
markers and colored pencils and
colored
pens.
Yeah, you got a protractor there, I see the end.
What is a protractor?
For math.
You mean a compass?
Well, it says, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
This is a compass!
Sorry, the protractor is another part of that math set. It's been a while. Okay, this is your what?
Pencil set.
Your pencil set.
With a bunch of markers and some journals, I guess.
A little notebook. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a notebook on the back of yours? Because there's something there. What was yours? No, just the cardboard?
No notebook.
Okay, what's next, Annika?
Here are all my textbooks.
Oh, that's a lot of textbooks. What do we got there?
Math, social studies, science. Don't know.
Nice.
I don't know.
Education's really good on you.
I don't know what this blue book is.
The last one, the Ciudadanía y Valores. They're like civics or civilities.
You have civics at grade, 5?
I don't know. It's your morals and values. There you go.
This is my math and language and literature textbooks.
Okay, so you just got 2. Same as last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science was online.
Right. Okay. Okay, Miss Monica, what's next in your box?
Here are all my notebooks.
All your notebooks. Okay, how many is in there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And I think some of them are graph paper, maybe? I can see the lines on the edge of one looks different.
Wait, no, 7. Sir!
Is the box empty now?
Yes.
Just cat size, perfect size. Okay, what do we got here?
And these are my notebooks.
Oh, you got bigger ones, coil bound. Wow. And you got definitely graph paper.
Yeah. Looks like I got 2 graph papers and I think 8 total notebooks.
Okay, that's a lot of notebooks.
Yeah.
Okay. Your box is empty now too?
Yep.
Okay, let's put these on the floor. Okay, since Lawrence has gone to bed early, as usual. What is it, 7:30? Okay. You guys are going to open Lawrence's box for him. Da, da, da.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What has he got there? What are those things in the front? Color pastels. Oh,
Pastels.
interesting.
I mean, there's markers as well.
Yeah,
And, oh, I think it's scissors. These are scissors, I think.
yeah, maybe. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. What's next?
Notebooks.
The
Oh,
same
is it
package as
measurements?
mine.
Yeah, same as well.
Doesn't look like graph paper though. Only
Yeah.
one.
There's graph paper right there.
Yeah. And then what about his textbooks? How many textbooks does he got?
He's got, I think, the same as Annika. Math. He has a textbook and a
And a workbook.
workbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
From
what I
that.
had too.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Language and literature, science and technology, and yeah, the same as Annika, which is civics.
Okay. The reason why you guys do not have any shoes or uniforms is because after the 3 hours I waited in line, I was told they run out. So I will need to go back another day to pick those up. The shoes were actually really nice. They were sneakers. Not like the
Ooh.
shoes had latches, they had laces. So for those who don't have tie laces, you're gonna have to learn.
Well, I know. Lawrence
Yeah.
doesn't.
Lawrence doesn't, yeah. So that'll
Only
be
Lawrence
fun.
doesn't.
The uniforms, the shirts looked, I don't know, the ones I saw was for I thought the high schoolers, but the shirt looked like the same fabric as your gym shirts, that stuff. So I guess we'll find out when we actually have them. And there's like a little backpack to put the shoes and the uniform in, which I didn't get that either. So another day we'll have the rest of this package. But what do you think so far?
I think these are very useful. I've been waiting for some, just using the notebooks that we got from Canada.
Okay, there we go. So now we get fresh stuff for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Albeit it is the 17th of March. Is it the 17th of March?
Yeah.
Oh, happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay, thank you, children. See you in the next one.
Don't forget to hit the like button.